Page 0008. The pause ends, the room still held the aftertaste of Adrian's last sentence. Quiet, clean, almost comforting. Mira had her elbows on the table. May was already turning ideas into systems in her head. Tomas was pretending he wasn't impressed. Then the ceiling lights flickered twice. Not the kind of flicker that says old wiring. The kind that says someone just entered the building like a password breach. Outside, the city of Mermaid hummed as usual, until the hum sharpened into a swarm. Scene 1, the interview gets cut off.
What was that?
May tilted her head, listening like the room had a heartbeat.
That wasn't par. That was jamming. Why band?
Tomas stood up too fast, chair legs screeching.
I thought you said we were safe here.
Adrian didn't move. He only reached under the table and clicked something that wasn't there a second ago.
Safe is a mood, not a plan.
A soft mechanical chirp echoed from the corridor. Then another, and another, multiplying like bad ideas. The glass wall on the far side of the room turned into a mirror for a split second as a drone's searchlight washed over it.
Drones.
Not delivery class.
No. Hunter class.
The first drone punched through the hallway door like a bullet with rotors, black, compact, with a camera eye that never blinked. It hovered for one fraction of a second, confirming faces. Then it screamed. Not sound, signal. A digital howl that made Tomas's teeth ache. Adrian was already moving. He grabbed the metal water pitcher and threw it not at the drone, but at the ceiling sprinkler head above it. The pitcher struck, the sprinkler burst, and a cloud of water exploded into the air. The drone's rotors stuttered instantly, its stabilizers fighting friction and chaos.
Electronics hate rain.
That was not on the agenda.
Life never is.
The drone recovered fast, too fast, tilting forward, charging. Adrian stepped into it like he'd done this more than once, slammed a chair upward into the rotors, and the drone shredded the chair into splinters. Splinters became shrapnel. Mira ducked instinctively and grabbed Tomas by the collar, yanking him down.
Hey!
Shut up and live.
May's hands flashed. She ripped the screen off the wall, exposing wiring like veins, then shorted a power lead into the wet air. The drone spasmed mid-flight, the scream turning into static. It fell. It didn't die. Crawled. Adrian stomped, once, hard enough to make the body crack, then he kicked it into the corner like trash that might still bite.
That's the first one.
From the corridor, 20 more chirps answered. Mira's eyes widened.
We're not doing this in here.
Correct.
He hit a panel on the wall. A section of bookshelf slid aside, revealing a tight maintenance tunnel.
Of course there's a hidden tunnel.
This is Mermaid. There's always a hidden tunnel.
They climbed in as the door behind them exploded inward, robot limbs cutting through wood like paper. Scene 2, maintenance tunnel. Humans versus machines. The tunnel was narrow enough to force humility. Metal walls, cables, heat. Their footsteps sounded like urgency. They crawled last, palms sliding over dust and grease.
They found us too quickly. Someone tagged the room.
Or they tagged me years ago and just waited for the right audience.
That's comforting.
Ahead, the tunnel opened into a service bay that smelled like ozone and old coolant. And it wasn't empty. 2 security bots stood there, tall, angular, built for intimidation. Their faces were blank plates with LED slits where emotion should be. One lifted its arm. A non-lethal coil gun spun up.
Non-lethal?
Non-lethal is what they call it when they want you alive for questions.
I prefer not answering.
The first bot fired. Blue arcs snapped through the air like angry lightning, aimed for muscle control. Adrian shoved Mira sideways, took the hit across his shoulder. His body locked for a moment, teeth clenched.
Adrian!
Adrian forced breath through pain.
Move.
May lunged toward the bot's leg joint, pulling a thin tool from her pocket, something between a blade and a circuit probe.
If it's built by humans, it's built with shortcuts.
She jammed the probe into a seam, and sparks erupted as she bridged contacts that should never meet. The bot's leg locked. Mira grabbed a loose metal pipe from a shelf and swung with both hands, smashing the bot's arm mid-windup. The coil gun spun free, clattering across the floor. The second bot charged, fast, heavy, confident. Tomas did the only brave thing he could think of. He threw a toolbox at its face. The toolbox shattered, wrenches and bolts sprang. One bolt hit the LED slit, pure luck, perfect angle, and the bot's vision glitched. Adrian used that glitch like a doorway. He grabbed the bot's wrist with both hands, twisted, and redirected its momentum into the concrete pillar. The impact cracked the pillar and the bot's shoulder joint at the same time. May seized the fallen coil gun, flipped it in her hands like she'd always belonged with it.
How do I?
Aim. Don't hesitate.
She fired into the bot's exposed shoulder cavity. The arc latched onto internal wiring, and the bot convulsed, then went still, smoke rising like a defeated thought. Mira stared at May for half a second.
You learn fast.
I'm motivated.
Adrian stood, rolling his shoulder. His expression didn't change, but his breathing did.
We're outnumbered. Which means we need speed, altitude, and a moving target.
You mean a car?
Not a car.
He pointed upward. Above them was a hatch marked Skylane Access. Scene 3, Skylaneway. The city becomes a battlefield. They burst onto the roof platform into cold wind and neon mist. Mermaid City spread out below. Towers, bridges, suspended roads, and the soft glow of ads selling calm to people who couldn't afford it. And in the air, a swarm. Dozens of drones moved in coordinated geometry, their lights blinking like a language. Below them, on a neighboring rooftop, 3 larger machines unfolded, combat frames, humanoid silhouettes with too many joints.
Those aren't police.
No. Those are problem solvers.
A drone dove. May fired the coil gun. The arc snapped upward and caught the drone by its rotor arm. Fell, spinning, trailing sparks. But the swarm adjusted instantly, like a school of fish that learned how to hate. Tomas pointed at the skyline, eyes wide.
They're hurting us.
Exactly. They want us on the Skylaneway.
Then why go there?
Adrian smiled, just a thin line.
Because that's where the traffic is.
He sprinted across the platform and vaulted a barrier onto a suspended on-ramp. The Skylaneway was a river of flying cars, sleek shells hovering on magnetic lift, guided by invisible lanes. Adrian flagged one down by doing something no algorithm expects. He stepped into its path. The car halted inches from him, emergency lights pulsing. The door popped open with an automated voice.
Please remain calm. This vehicle is.
Adrian ripped the console panel out and yanked a cable free.
Not available for unauthorized.
The voice died.
You just killed a car.
I just gave it freedom.
May climbed into the passenger seat and immediately started rewiring.
If I can get manual thrust and lane spoofing, we might.
The swarm attacked the on-ramp. Drones fired microneedles, tiny projectiles that shredded sensors and punctured tires on the few-wheeled service craft nearby. Mira jumped into the back, grabbed a fire extinguisher from the car's safety kit, and turned it into a weapon. She sprayed a thick cloud into the air. The drones flew into it, their optics blinded, rotors choking. 3 drones collided and fell. Tomas slammed the door and looked around like the car might judge him.
I have never stolen a vehicle in my life.
Congratulations. You're leveling up.
May slammed the panel back in place.
Go. Now.
Adrian punched the manual override. The car leapt forward into the Skylaneway. Smooth at first, then the city noticed. Traffic control lights shifted from green to warning amber across the lane grid, and behind them, 2 pursuit drones unfolded into larger shapes. Interceptor class with jet-assisted rotors and a long undercarriage weapon mount.
Those are new.
Everything dangerous is new.
Scene 4, Flying Car Chase. Vertical, fast, unfair, the Skylaneway became a canyon. Adrian threaded between commuters who had no idea they were seconds away from becoming debris. May hacked the lane markers on her improvised interface, numbers and vectors flickering, a map rewriting itself under pressure.
The city wants us in Corridor 7. That's a kill box.
Then we don't go there.
He yanked the yoke and dove beneath the main lanes, into the maintenance airspace where only service drones were supposed to exist. Warning signs flashed. Alarms whined.
That's not a lane.
Lanes are suggestions.
The interceptors followed, sharper, faster. One fired a net, thin, conductive strands designed to wrap rotors and short out lift. Mira leaned out the rear window, bracing herself with one foot against the seat, and blasted the net with the extinguisher foam. The foam hardened instantly in the cold air, turning the net into a stiff, useless slab that missed them by a meter and slapped onto a passing billboard. The billboard flickered, then displayed a cheerful ad. Relax. Trust the system. May laughed once, short, bitter.
The system is chasing us.
Adrian aimed the car toward a vertical gap between two towers, too narrow for comfort. Tomas grabbed the seat.
That gap is not real.
It's real enough.
They shot through. The car's side skirts scraped concrete. Sparks rained like angry confetti. One interceptor tried to follow and clipped the building edge. Its rotor arm snapped off. It spun, crashed, and exploded into a shower of carbon fiber and fire. The second interceptor didn't hesitate. It accelerated. It learned. May's screen flashed red.
It's calling reinforcements. And it's broadcasting our lot.
Then we change the route in a way it can't model.
Like what?
Adrian pointed at a suspended cargo rail ahead, massive, armored containers sliding along an elevated mag track.
Like using the city's own spine.
Scene 5, the cargo rail gambit. Adrian accelerated, aligning the car beneath the rail.
You're not.
I am.
He hit the emergency lift burst. May had rewired it just enough for one illegal use. The car jumped upward, latched magnetically onto the underside of a cargo container with a violent clang. Everything went upside down. Tomas screamed.
Why are we upside down?
May's hair floated like she was underwater.
Because gravity is optional if you're insane.
Adrian held the yoke steady, knuckles white.
Quiet. Breathe.
Above them, the cargo train roared forward, containers sliding like armored whales. Behind, the interceptor drone arrived and lost target lock for a split second, its cameras scanning, confused by the container's shielding. That was all May needed. May typed fast, spoofing the container ID, injecting false telemetry into the drone's pursuit logic.
I'm feeding it a ghost.
The interceptor hesitated, then banked hard toward the wrong container. Mira looked out through the rear glass at the drone's silhouette shrinking.
Did we lose it?
We delayed it.
Because the real threat wasn't behind them anymore. It was ahead. Cargo rail curved into a choke point where the city's skyline narrowed into a bridge of steel and light. And standing on that bridge, anchored to the structure like a statue, was a combat frame. It lifted its head as if it could feel them coming. Its arm unfolded into a cannon.
Tell me that's not looking at us.
It's looking at the future.
Which is us.
The cannon charged, blue-white energy building like a sunrise in the wrong place. Adrian's voice went calm, the way it does when panic is useless.
May. Can you detach us?
May stared at the wiring she'd hacked, then at the oncoming glow.
Yes.
Do it on my mark.
The cannon fired. The beam tore through the air, slicing the space they would occupy in 2 seconds. Adrian counted with his breath.
1.
The beam hit the container ahead, carving molten metal.
2.
The heat washed over them. The car's paint bubbled.
Now.
May slammed the detach. The car dropped, free fall, then Adrian punched thrust at the last possible moment. They dove under the beam as it continued across the bridge, shearing off a chunk of structure that fell in slow-motion sparks toward the streets below. The car stabilized just above the skylaneway. Barely. Mira exhaled like she'd been holding her entire life.
I hate your plans.
You'll love being alive.
May pointed forward. Her eyes were sharp now, no fear, just calculation.
That frame on the bridge wasn't alone. There are more signatures, multiple rooftops. This is a citywide sweep.
For us?
For the resistance.
He glanced at the skyline where drones blinked like stars that wanted blood.
They didn't come to stop a conversation. They came to stop an idea.
The car surged forward into the neon fog, chased by machines and the city's own nervous system. And somewhere beneath the chaos, Mermaid kept smiling in its advertisements, selling calm while the war finally reached the surface.
I appreciate you watching to the end. If you liked the vibe, subscribe and come say hi in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps the channel. See ya.